What's up, everyone? It's the OOTP GM. I want to welcome you to the 18th episode of my Detroit Tigers GM Let's Play here on Out of the Park Baseball 18. So we're here for the second part of the 2020 off season, and I want to get right into things. I want to show you guys the really great news, which is Mike Trout signed with us. So he signed that 6-year deal that we offered him with a team option for the 6th year. 6 years, $225 million. It's a steep commitment. But how often do you have a chance to have both Mike Trout and Bryce Harper in your outfield at the same time? Two generational type players. This is a massive kick boost to our team. It's going to really help just shoot us into the stratosphere of contenders. I'm really excited about this. And then the other signing that we had was this Keona Kela, a relief pitcher. We signed into a 4-year deal. And the reason why I wanted to get this guy is I wanted to try to have some stability in the bullpen. We've had a lot of moving parts the last few years, and this guy's had some pretty good years in the past. He's had a couple of bad years, but he's also had 4 really good years. 3 of his last 4 years have been really good with Texas. I like his ratings. I don't love his control, but I like all the rest of his ratings. And the contract that we got him on was pretty reasonable. 4.6 last year, but the first 3 years were pretty reasonable, so I was really happy to get him. And then also, we had to up our offer to Aaron Sanchez because there's a few other teams that are interested in him. So 4.5 still not bad. I'm not sure how high I'm going to be willing to go with him, but we had to up his offer a little bit. And then I offered a contract to Brady Tragmeyer, who is a relief pitcher as well. His ratings are pretty even around the board, but he'd only be a $1 million commitment, and he's only pitched very limitedly in the majors. But I feel like he's a guy that could potentially be, pretty good for us. If he works out, great. If he doesn't, it's not a huge financial commitment. Now, I'm also looking at backup outfielders for our team, but before I get into that, I wanted to show you guys a trade that we are going to make. And I was shopping a lot of different players on the team, and the one guy that I was shopping that got a lot of interest was Spencer Turnbull. Now, Turnbull's going to kind of get pushed out of a rotation spot. He's been kind of up and down the last few years when he's pitched for us in the majors, and he's not very happy right now in general, but if we get Sanchez is going to slot in as our number 5 in the rotation, and he's going to get pushed out. So I was kind of shopping him around, seeing what kind of offers there were, and I got some really great offers for him. There's just a ton of really great players that are being offered, a lot of really young, talented outfielders, some good pitchers. I mean, just a lot of offers for a guy that's only a 2-star player. It's a lot of really good offers here. The guy that I focused in on this is Jaron Kendall, who's a 24-year-old left fielder from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we'd have a lot of control over him. I like his personality. He plays all 3 outfield positions very well. He's a good runner. And I don't love his avoid K rating, but all of his other ratings are really nice. So I really like this deal for us, because what would happen here is we'd slot Jaron Kendall into left field, and then Kristen Stewart would get moved to the DH slot most likely, which means Alonso would get pushed out of the starting role, but I might leave Alonso on the team, because then we could potentially have him swap out with Cabrera at some point, because Cabrera's getting older, and we could, have kind of a tandem there. Now, before I complete this trade, I do want to just check and see if we could get any other players in this deal. I seriously doubt that we're going to be able to, but I kind of wanted to just take a peek and see if I'd love to get Cash Case, for example, but he's not going to do that. I just want to see if there's any kind of lower level guys down here that we might be able to get in a deal. Like maybe this 19-year-old pitcher. Nope, he doesn't want to do that. Let's see. Just kind of cruising along here. What about this 21-year-old center fielder? Nope, he doesn't want to do that. I think we're going to have to pretty much do an even, straight-up trade. I seriously doubt. Just out of curiosity, what does he want for? Okay, never mind. It looks like it's going to have to be a straight-up deal at this point. We're not going to get any extra prospects, it doesn't look like. What about this guy? Oh, now they'd be willing to give it Brad Keller. He's another reliever. Ground ball pitcher. His ratings aren't. We've already got offers for other guys. I don't mind adding him. I don't mind adding him all that much. Like I said, his ratings aren't particularly good. He's never pitched in the majors. It doesn't look like. No. I mean, I wouldn't mind acquiring him if we can get him. Why not? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this deal. We're gonna do Spencer Turnbull for Jaron Kendall and Brad Keller. We're going to complete that deal. And then what we'll do, we'll head in here. There's the name for assignment, Kendall. Moving him into the infinite space of nothingness. Okay, there we go. So we move him over, and then pretty much just like I thought. So Kendall gets moved into the starting left field position. Then you got Trout and Harper. Stewart gets moved to the DH. And then you've got Alonso, who's going to split time with Cabrera at first, and then you still got Maya with these backup positions, and then Johnson can play some outfield. But I was really looking for a really talented outfield guy, a backup outfielder, and there were a couple of guys that I was looking at that I was interested in, and the one that came to mind. The one guy that I'm really interested in is this Albert Amora. He's only 26. He's durable. He's a great personality. He's a really great defender. Plays all the positions, and he doesn't mind being a bench player. His price is still a little steep for me. I was hoping his price would continue to come down. I've been continuing to check to see if he's been offered a contract, and he hasn't yet. He would be ideal. His hitting ratings are pretty good. He doesn't have a lot of home run power or discipline, but otherwise, for a backup, his ratings are pretty good. So I'm gonna wait a little bit longer on him to see, because there are a few other guys I'd be willing to give offers to. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer on him to see if his price continues to drop before I offer him a deal. But we are going to keep an eye on that situation. So with that, we are going to head right down to the Rule 5 draft. And I don't know what kind of players are going to be available for the Rule 5 draft. I haven't really looked at it yet. So we'll see who's going to be available there. Negotiating up. See now another thing right here. The Dodgers have upped their offer to him, so now it's up to 5.3. Okay, I don't mind going up to a certain range with Sanchez, because like I said, he's really talented. It's only for 1 year, but I don't want to get into like $10-15 million if I can help it. So we'll do 5.5. He seems to like that deal, and that seems to work. So we will continue here the Rule 5 draft, and then I'm going to do the Rule 5 draft, and then diagnosed with retiring. What the heck is this? Oh no, did he just retire on me? What the heck just happened? I've never seen this before. I mean, I've seen guys retire, but not just retiring out of the blue is like the weirdest thing. That actually is very unfortunate if that is the case. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. I want to see what happened here. Wait. League history. Yeah, he just retired out of the blue. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Well, that is super unfortunate. Alright. So, Peter Alonso just retired. So, okay. So, it looks like we don't have a first baseman to take Miguel Cabrera's spot at this point. Alright, so I'll have to add that to the list of things to make moves about. Okay, so see, all kinds of crazy things will happen when you're working your way through this. So, alright, so we need to go through here, and I'm going to add this guy to our 40-man roster. We just traded for him. And some of these other guys here, obviously, I want to add Rivera now to our 40-man roster because he's our next first baseman in line with Alonso suddenly retiring. And then some of these other guys, this John Schreiber is interesting. I'm going to add him only because he's like the next like starting pitcher in line in case somebody gets injured or something like that. So I'm going to add him, and I don't think there's anybody else that I'm going to add at this point. Oh, Carter Keevan we want to add because, well, he's only 2 stars. I don't think he's going to get picked. I'm willing to take the risk with Keevan. I know we traded for him in the Bryce Harper deal, but I'm willing to take a chance with him because I don't think he's going to get picked. Christopher Arias, only 21. We got him in that big Dodgers deal. I don't think he's going to get picked either. Only 1 star. Normally, I like to do 3-star guys onto the 40-man, but I just don't see him getting picked. So I think we're going to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, we have the room. I'm just going to be better to be safe than sorry. I'm going to add him. You know what? It's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm just going to add him, and I think that's going to be it. I don't think there's going to be anybody else. No, because we're not going to be adding rookies. So, all right. So we'll go ahead. We'll head right into the Rule 5 draft, and we are 15th this year. So we will head in. We will do all players. Scroll up to the top. All right, so Domingo Santana. Oh, Jeremy Vasquez. Here's an interesting guy. Looks like our first base issue might be solved after all. I mean, he's only AA, but all right, let's do until next pick by Detroit. Okay, so he wasn't picked. Let's go recommendation. Chad Spanberger. See, this is a first baseman. Okay, he's a lefty AAA. 8th round pick in 2017. He's only played 6 games above single A. I do not love that. His ratings are alright. Not a particularly great fielder, but alright. What about this Vasquez guy? This guy looks really tempting. 3.5 star. Wow, talk about, see, this is what I'm talking about. Big, 17th round pick, and he's 3.5 star player. I really like this guy. A lot better fielder, better contact ratings. He's played 3 straight years in AA, so he definitely could have moved up if he'd been handled differently. I'm going to draft this guy. I'm going to draft him to potentially be our heir apparent to Mr. Cabrera. So we're going to draft Vasquez. I know my history with Rule 5 picks isn't particularly great, but we're going to do it anyways, because why not? Alright, so next pick by Detroit, and I didn't see anybody else here that I'm looking at because a lot of these other positions are filled. This 22-year-old right fielder, but again, only high A. You don't want to pick guys, even if the ratings are good, you don't want to pick guys that have only been in like high A. That's not usually a recipe for success. Let's see what Theo says. Isaiah Gilliam, 3rd baseman. If we actually had a reasonable need at 3rd base, I might be willing to do it. But again, only in high A. I don't want to pick guys just because he's 24. He's only been in high A, and I don't like this stuff. So we're not gonna. I'm sorry, Epstein. I am not going to follow your recommendation this time. So we're gonna complete the Rule 5 draft. This guy seemed lucky with that first baseman being there. So. Alright, so with the Rule 5 draft being over with, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause things here, and then I will see you guys at the Hall of Fame voting results, and then we'll move forward to the beginning of the regular season after that, and I'll do a whole long preview for you guys before we end the episode. So I'll see you guys at the Hall of Fame voting results. Alright guys, so we are here at the Hall of Fame voting results. And before we get into that, I just wanted to show you guys real quick. We are still waiting to hear from our free agent offers that we've made. We're still waiting to hear from them if they're going to sign or not. So I wanted to give you a quick update there. And then in regards to the Hall of Fame, it looks like Tommy and Guerrero finally got into the Hall of Fame. They, last few years they've just kind of been on the cusp, so to speak. So they finally get in their 4th and 5th years respectively. It looks like Bonds and Clemens are getting close. Even though I've never voted for them, it looks like they might get in. Schilling looks like he took a really big jump here in his 9th year. Same with Mussina. Looks like he took a big jump. Hudson only 22% in his first year. I'm a little surprised about that. But yeah, so those are your Hall of Fame voting results. And then just one little quick thing, Houston Astros owner passed away. That's unfortunate to see. In terms of any other free agents, like I had mentioned, I was looking at that Almora for a backup outfielder. His number is still a little high. It's 2.8 million. But we might get into. I might wait to get into the preseason, see if his number comes down. If it does, I will offer him a contract. And Avisel Garcia is also a guy that we could look at too. He's willing to, not as good of a defender, but he's willing to be a backup. So, all right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move forward pretty much to the beginning of the season. I might cut in real quick and show you guys if these two did accept contracts or we signed anybody else, or I might just wait until the beginning of the season and let you guys know what happened there. Maybe keep you in suspense until the beginning of the season. So until then, I will see you guys at the beginning of the season. Alright guys, so we are here at opening day for the 2021 season, and I want to give you guys a quick rundown of what the team looks like this year, and then also give you kind of a season preview, a spring training review, and then finally a look at our prospects heading into the season. So let's get right into it. We'll go ahead and look at the pitching staff here first. And our starting five is a little bit different than what we had originally anticipated. So I should say first, Aaron Sanchez did end up signing with us. It took until like the second week of spring training for him to sign, but he did sign with us eventually. This Brady Dragmeyer also signed with us. He signed with us pretty much not too long after I left you in the last part, but so we got both of those guys signed to add to the team this year. So our starting rotation is Michael Fulmer, Aaron Sanchez, Walker Buehler, Bo Burrows, and Aaron Slegers. The reason why Slegers is here and Alex Faedo is not is Slegers had a really nice spring training, and Faedo had like an ERA over 8 in spring training, and he only had a few starts in the majors last year. And I figured it's probably better to send him down to start the season in AAA, give him a little bit more seasoning down there before we bring him up and make him a full-time part of the rotation. And I'm not going to be as patient with a lot of these guys this year. So, like, if Buehler or Burrows or Slegers, if any of those guys struggle at the beginning of the year, I will send them down. And as long as Faedo is pitching well, we'll call him up to kind of take their place. Or, obviously, if there's an injury. And then in terms of our bullpen, Steckenrider is our closer again this year. He had a rough spring, but he had a rough spring last year and then ended up having a pretty good season overall for us. So Steckenrider is our closer. Then we have Minter and Arturo as our two setup men, and then Keona Kayla, who was one of our free agent signings. He is in the bullpen along with Dragmeyer, Jimenez, and LeKind. So we had a competition, a very tough competition actually, between a lot of different guys. This Gerson Bautista, I believe we got him in the Zimmerman trade, and his ratings have really shot up for us. And it was really tough to send him down because he had a pretty good spring too, but ultimately we had some tough decisions that we had to make. So that's why he is down there. And then we also, Daniel Stumpf, as you will see, he is on the disabled list to start the year. He had a separated shoulder, so he's going to be out for another 2 months. And he's been one of our more consistent pitchers. So that's a little bit of a bummer there. In terms of the lineup, we have not a whole lot of surprises here. The only real surprise here is that they have Jeremy Vasquez, the guy that we got in the Rule 5 draft. He is starting at first base for us, and they have Cabrera as the DH, which means, let me move this out of the way real quick. There we go. That Christian Stewart is now bumped out of the starting lineup, and he is the backup DH, and you can see just whenever Cabrera is tired, he's subbing in for him. That's the biggest difference here so far. Also, we did sign Albert Armora to be our backup outfielder. He's patrolling the outfield for us, and this Jaron Kendall that we got in the Turnbull trade, he is starting in left field for us. So our starters are pretty much what you'd expect: Max Pentecost, Cabrera and Vasquez, Eves. Santana is our new starting shortstop. And we have Shepard, Kendall, Trout, and Harper. So potentially a really, really solid outfield trio there. And then the backups are, again, as you would expect, we have Ross, we have Meja, and then we have Almora and Stewart as our backups. So we'll see how things go here early on in the year. We might be making some moves, obviously, if certain things happen. Vasquez, he probably has to stay on our roster for the entire season because he's a Rule 5 pick, and I'd like to keep him on the roster regardless, but we might see some moves that are made. The one thing I did want to note, this is the right-handed lineup. In the left-handed lineup, things are a little bit different. Vasquez gets moved out against lefties because he's a left-handed bat, and then Cabrera gets moved into the starting lineup, and Stewart gets moved back into the starting lineup. So things switch around slightly in terms of lefties and righties. Same thing here. As you can see, things get switched around a little bit here as well. So just wanted to show you guys the lineup real quick. So that's what we're going to be employing. And then in terms of before I get into the prospects, let me show you guys what spring looked like for us. So we went 16-12 in the spring, which was tied with Kansas City for the best record in the AL Central. The Texas Rangers had a really great spring. They went 19-9. And in terms of preseason predictions, I did take a quick peek at these, and you can see our prediction has shot through the roof. We are projected to be the best team in baseball this year. 105 wins, 856 runs scored, a 3.51 ERA, which is one of the best in baseball. So all those additions, everything that we've been doing has built to this now. And then in terms of top 10 hitters, we've got Harper and Trout. No surprise there. But what is really surprising, we have 4 pitchers this year. We have Fulmer, Sanchez, Slagers, which was a really big surprise, and then Burrows as well. So we have 4 guys that could potentially be top pitchers this year. And even the mighty Dodgers are projected for less wins than us with 95. So that is really nice to see that finally all of this work that we've been putting in looks like it's going to pay off. And then also, in terms of top prospects, we only have 2 top prospects this year. I took a quick peek at this as well. So our only top hitting prospect is the first baseman that we drafted recently, Jim Bland, the 19-year-old first baseman. He is 79 in terms of hitters. And in terms of pitchers, Alex Faedo is still on the list because he didn't get enough time in. He is number 15 overall, and those are the only top prospects that we have. If you go into the minor league systems here, you'll see we are 18th, Faedo and Bland. Those are the only top 100 prospects that we have. And then I believe if you go into here, then we have this Yakael Sisson. He's the only other top 200 guy that we have. He comes in at 149th. So that's where we are there. And then in terms of our own prospects, I'll give you guys a quick peek at that real quick as well. So some of these guys are not going to be on the list too much longer because they just haven't planned out the way that we had hoped. But we've got Cabello. He's been in Connecticut the last couple of years. He's he's the catcher that we signed, international free agency. He's going to start the year in Midland. Then we've got Faedo, Bautista, Vladimir Guerrero. These guys are all in AAA to start the year. I could see both of these guys coming up pretty soon if we need them. Dwayne Pippy is in High A this year. He had a decent year in Midland last year, 254, 311, 334. His ratings are starting to come up, which is nice to see. There's Julio Rodriguez. He's been in rookie ball the last few years. We're trying him in Low A this year. We're going to see what happens with this Rodriguez. Dan Franks, we're keeping him in Low A because he missed some time. He missed almost an entire season, I believe, with an injury. So we're keeping him in Low A. He only has 33 innings down there. We're going to start him in Low A. We can always move him up if we want to, but we're going to have him down there. Brady Scott, another pitcher, he is in High A this year because he struggled last year when he did move up, so we're going to keep him there. And then Christopher Arias, the last guy I wanted to show you here real quick. His ratings have kind of fallen off a little bit. He was the one that we got in that big Dodgers trade. And struggled a little bit in mid-A last year, but we are going to move him up to High A, see what he can do. And then, unfortunately, Jeter Downs, our first round pick, he's a full blown bust at this point. Just has not worked out, and I probably will just let the computer handle him from this point. Same thing with Matt Manning. He had elbow reconstruction surgery, and he is pretty much he also looks like he's a bust at this point. And same thing with Tyler Alexander. He was already on the roster when we first came in, but unfortunately, some of these guys just, that's why we do talent randomness and stuff. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. So, but all right, guys, that is the end of the season preview here. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Comments and feedback are always welcome. And I will see you guys for the next episode, which will be the 2021 first year player draft.